Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of What If Naruto was the descendant of Shao Kahn. If you guys enjoy this What If and want to see part 3 of it, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other What Ifs in the channel. And check the description for the creator of this fanfic and support them for making this fanfic. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. The stadium erupted into frantic chatter, as everyone was trying to find out what happened to the demon brat. What the fuck? I thought he was supposed to be some scrawny looking idiot wearing Kill Me Orange. No, not that thing standing down there, said one person in the stands. Oh my kami, he's so sexy, said one woman not from Konoha. What the hell happened to the brat? Said one leaf shinobi of Chunin rank. Do you think it was the fox? Said a civilian whispering to another. This seemed to be the collective thoughts of all within the stadium. Stands, that's Naruto, Ino asked, as she saw the new and very much improved version of the blonde knucklehead. Sakura was staring too, but was in denial. She was trying to convince herself that there was no one who could look better than her Sasuke. Choji was frozen in mid-chew and staring at Naruto. Kiba was smirking. He had a feeling that the match with Neji was going to be extremely brutal. Hinata was currently holding her nose to prevent the ever-massive nosebleed that would have erupted when she saw Naruto's muscles. Down in the arena, Temari was staring at Naruto while trying to hold back her own with less noticeable effort. Wow. This kid went from loud-mouthed squirt to hot stud in less than 1 month. I hope he's still single, she thought while her face was red. So Temari's got a crush on him. Blackmail material. Thought Konkuro was noting the look on his sister's face and was grinning, as he knew that he could use this as blackmail material for later. Shikamaru's eyes were wide, but he still had that bored look on his face. Troublesome, he said out loud, knowing Naruto's face was in the dictionary when it came to the term. Maybe he can help me prove my existence, thought Gar had on a slight sadistic smile as he stared at the blonde. Shino was wondering what had happened to the boy that made him change so drastically in such a short time. He was also starting to wonder how he was able to do that thing when he entered the arena. Arena floor. Naruto Uzumaki. Genma asked, just as surprised as everyone else. Naruto simply nodded towards Genma as he focused his attention on a still stunned Neji. Damn boy, been hitting them weights, chuckled the proctor. And them steroids, apparently, thought many of the Jonin senseis in this stance. Naruto simply chuckled. So the dead lass finally decided to show up, Neji snidely remarked, finally getting out of his shock. Don't you know that, no matter what you do, or however you look, you will still lose? Because fate has decreed that I shall be winning today. Naruto simply stared at him, as if he were a bug, which in Naruto's eyes he was. Now the match between Neji Hyuga and Naruto Uzumaki will begin, Genma said, smirking. Genma then decided to get the hell out of there, because he had a feeling that this was going to be a rough one. The other contestants all filed out of the arena and went up to the fighter's box. Up in the stands, two Chunin, Katetsu and Izumo, both sat and watched the match. The kid's come far, Izumo said simply. Yeah, Katetsu said, but is the kid strong enough to fight the prodigy of the Hyuga clan? In the arena, Neji faced Naruto and crossed his arms. Give up now, he said, there is no way that you can defy fate. When Neji didn't receive a reply, he scowled at Naruto. Are you listening to me? Said Neji, with Naruto simply stayed silent, watching Neji like a predator stalks his prey. While his mind was going back to when he was training with Shao Kahn into power, he willed it to bring his legacy to this point, along with the truth of his heritage. A heritage that was centuries if not a millennium in the making, that was denied thanks to a fearful god seeking to usurp evil in his progeny. Flashback. Outworld arena. Again, said Shao Kahn, seeing his son's long-line descendant brutally fighting a small army of Target and demons, and doing impressively well. The boy had gone on a much more nutritional diet after a combination of Shao Kahn's own power-fused Kyuubi with Naruto, which wasn't the most pleasant thing given the memories of the fox, and growing of Naruto's body structure growing. That had been a very painful ordeal, which was saying something given Naruto's past experience with pain, and could not hold back the screams that came from his mouth. When it was over, Naruto was bedridden for a week, the means to use his body were basically reset, and the next month in Outworld was spent relearning how to use it. Though if there was one thing in Uzumaki with the ancient bloodline of Emperor Shao Kahn had going for him, it was being a quick learner, and in Outworld, it was a necessity. When Naruto was told how the elder god Raiden had set things in motion for the abuse suffered at the hands of the village with the third Hokage, and to stunt his growth simply due to the fear of some kind of prophecy, well, the boy was pissed off. I mean super pissed off that several soldiers were on the receiving end of Naruto's wrath. Shao Kahn further explained how the rules of the elder gods allowed Naruto to travel back and forth from Outworld to Earthrealm without their interference. So the blonde could visit anytime, and even seek Shao Kahn's advice on matters, since he was still young. If the Elder Gods tried anything, it would cause the laws they set in place to shatter and allow the Emperor of Outworld the right to invade Earthrealm, if not demand a restart of the Mortal Kombat tournaments to decide the fate of all the realms. The end result of Naruto training had allowed the boy to gain a great deal of muscle to his body, leading to his 1 year of training in Outworld, which made many of the female servants blush and look at him with lust. A fact Shao Kahn would mention from time to time in front of Naruto, and the Uzumaki took with a sense of pride in making the female gender weak in the knees. Though while muscle was a given with all the training, Naruto also developed inhuman agility, which he acquired in combination of Shao Kahn's painful teaching methods for him to dodge, and Kyuubi's fox-like agility to outmaneuver others in a pinch. "Anyone else for me to take down my forefather," said Naruto with Shao Kahn smirking, and snapped his fingers from his position on the throne. "Goro, Kintaro, Shiva," called Shao Kahn, with the trio of Shogun now ready to fight the Uzumaki. "I had to ask," said Naruto before the Shogun attacked him, and with the intent to kill. Then flashback. Neji just smirked, thinking his opponent was afraid, and activated his Byakugan. "Don't feel like talking? Fine, let's get this beating started," he said smirking. "Watch closely, Hanabi," Hiashi Hyuga, the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, said to his youngest daughter. "Why?" said Hanabi while staring at this monster of a shinobi facing her cousin. "There's no other Hyuga who has blood thicker than Neji's. He is a true Hyuga prodigy," said Hiashi, though even he felt some form of fear at this. The young girl simply nodded, showing that she was listening. She watched, wanting to see if the boy really could fight. In the arena, Neji charged at Naruto, who just stood there, and seemed unafraid of being hit by the infamous taijutsu of the Hyuga clan. Just as Neji was about to strike him, he moved skillfully to the left hand, at a speed even Neji couldn't track with his Byakugan eyes, and backhanded the Hyuga away from him. Neji rolled about 10 feet away from Naruto before stopping and quickly getting to his feet in shock. "What the hell was that?" thought Neji, as he nursed the right side of his face. He wasn't anywhere near that strong or fast when he fought the Onizuka. 1 month of training shouldn't have given him this much power. Whoa, were the collective thoughts of everyone who knew Naruto, and knew that he wasn't anywhere near this strong a month ago. "HM, so it seems you've gotten a little bit better since your last fight. Doesn't matter since you'll still lose to me like my useless cousin did in the Chunin exam prelims," taunted the Hyuga, as he was now cautiously stepped towards Uzumaki, and saw him being unaffected by the comments. "But it still doesn't mean a damn thing." Neji charged at Naruto, and unleashed a barrage of Juken strikes. He became frustrated, as Naruto simply dodged, and deflected all of his strikes. "Holy shit, this is the kid that used to go around wearing an orange jumpsuit, shouting about how he would be Hokage one day," Izumo said in amazement. "He just might be able to do it," Kotetsu chimed in. In the stands, Hanabi was currently staring at Naruto. She had been taught that power was everything, and that was currently showing. "God damn it, stand still so I can hit you," yelled out a furious Neji, while Naruto simply laughed at the Hyuga, as he continuously danced around the Juken strikes. Neji had a small moment of triumph, as he finally managed to nail Naruto in his left arm. However, triumph was replaced with pain, as Naruto used that exact same arm to punch Neji across his face, sending him flying back a good 15 feet. The stadium was once again shocked, as they saw the supposed dead last loser strike the Hyuga prodigy. "Really, Neji? Is this the best you have to offer? How disappointing." Naruto finally spoke, shocking everyone by his now deep voice, was while he taunted the Hyuga with a smirk, and he saw Neji go red in the face upon hearing him comment. "Disappointing? I'll show you a fucking disappointment," yelled the enraged Hyuga, as he slipped into a new stance that had many of the Hyuga clan members in the crowd gasping in shock. "You're within my field of deviation." With that, he charged straight at Naruto. Had he had a clear head instead of an anger-driven one, he would have noticed that Naruto didn't move at all, and instead, let Neji get within striking range. "A trigram 64 palms," stated Neji as he started using his clan's prized skill to close all of Naruto's chakra points. Had he paid attention, he would have noticed that Naruto never even flinched when Neji started his assault, nor did he move an inch from his spot. "What the hell has Naruto been up to this past month?" asked a gobsmacked Kiba. "That's what I want to know too," thought Sakura, while her anger at the blonde being this strong only infuriated her further, since she felt Sasuke should be the one with this power, and not the monster fighting Neji. "He's taking all of those Juken strikes as if they're nothing. Hey Hinata, can you check and see if Neji is even closing any of Naruto's chakra points?" said Kiba, knowing his own teammate could see what was going on. "Hi," muttered the shy Hyuga heiress, as she activated her Byakugan before gasping. What do you see?" said Ino, seeing Hinata staring intently at Naruto. "Amazing, Neji Ni-sen's chakra hasn't even scratched any of Naruto-kun's chakra points," she said, much to the amazement and disbelief of all of those around her. "Bullshit," sneered Sakura at Hinata. "What?" said Ino, surprised by Sakura continued putting down of Naruto in this fight. "Your Byakugan must have a defect in it. There is absolutely no way in hell that Baka is withstanding all of those hits." He must be cheating somehow, stupid Narubaka, said Sakura while Hinata ignored the dumb fangirl. However, as she looked away from where Neji was striking Naruto with his Juken strikes, and allowed her X-ray vision eyes to travel a little bit farther down south on the body of her crush. Oh my, he's so big, she thought, as she fainted with a little blood leaking down her nose. Hinata, what happened? Would she collapse? Questioned a frantic Kiba, as he saw his teammate knocked out in her chair, with blood leaking out of her nose, and a perverted smile on her face. Back to the fight. What the hell? Huffed a tired Neji, as he finished his assault. Why haven't any of your chakra points closed? Is it? Because honestly, that was pathetic, asked a bored Naruto, as he stared at Neji, looking at him as shock at first before anger replaced it. This isn't possible. He should be weak. Pathetic. The commoner in his truest form. So how is it possible he's doing this? Thought Neji, simply gritted his teeth, as this commoner actually had the audacity to mock him. A member of the strongest clan in Konoha, the Hyuga clan. Since you're beginning to bore me, began Naruto with a sigh. He immediately put Neji on his guard. I guess I'll go on the offensive now instead of defensive. Neji didn't have any time to react, as Naruto suddenly vanished from the spot he was in, and appeared directly in front of him. He was knocked up in the air, as Naruto hit him with an uppercut. Before he could fly away, however, Naruto quickly grabbed him by the ankle, turned around, and slammed Neji face first into the ground, so hard the ground created spiderweb cracks. This caused many within the crowd to cringe at the impact from the sound and the violent vibrations. He then lifted Neji up by the back of his head, and started repeatedly punching him in the stomach. Many of the viewers started cringing after every hit. Hell, a few threw up. The impact of each hit echoed across the stadium. You could literally hear Neji's ribs cracking and breaking. Finally, after the 30th punch to the sternum, Naruto threw Neji high up in the air, and everyone saw the nearly broken body of his enemy. As he was coming down, Naruto's body was surrounded by a mysterious red aura, as he, with great speed, flew up in the air and kneed Neji in his jaw, or what Shao Kahn called the uplifting knee strike during their training together. Neji sailed a long distance across the arena before crash landing on the ground, causing him to cough up copious amounts of blood. Kage Booth. That was a rather brutal genin you have there, Hokage Dono. I must say his ruthless fighting ability rivals that of Gar, commented the Kazukage, after pausing to find the suitable word for what he just witnessed. Since when the hell was the Kyuubi child this powerful? I just might have to dispose of him before he becomes a thorn in my side, thought Orochimaru, while seeing the brutality the Kyuubi Jinchuriki unleashed on the Hyuga boy. Oh yeah, well, he's not usually like that at all, said a dumbfounded Sarutobi. I feared as much. Something has happened in the last month. Did Jiraiya train him? Or was it something I did to the fourth Hokage's seal? Thought Orochimaru while watching the one-sided fight unfold. Why has Naruto-kun changed so much? And what was that chakra technique? Normal chakra is blue, and that couldn't have been Kyuubi's chakra, even if it was red. He should even have access to it despite Kakashi's report about Wave Country. And I sure as hell know that that was no medical chakra. What has happened to you this past month, my boy? Thought the third Hokage, while seeing Naruto running Neji over with his power stance. Lord Puchoji, after witnessing one of the most gruesome displays of brutality he has ever seen. Shikamaru simply stood there with wide eyes and a gaping mouth. No one could really tell if Shino was disturbed or not. However, if you looked real close, you could see sweat dripping down his forehead. The rest of the genin, except Hinata who was still unconscious, were stunned into total silence. My god. Asuma's words pretty much wrapped up what all of the Jonin and Chunin were thinking. Well, except for one. I think I'm in love, yelled an extremely aroused Anko with hearts in her eyes, as she gazed upon Naruto and all of the blood he had spilled. That was one of the most sadistic and bloody things Anko had seen in a long time. And Anko absolutely loved bloody and sadistic things. Right now, Anko's list of men she had an eye on in Konoha had been narrowed down to one person, and he was currently at the top of the list, while competing in the arena below. Neji Iniki, mumbled a frightened, teary-eyed Hanabi. She had just seen someone she viewed as an older brother beaten to a bloody pulp. And the fact she's only 10 years old means someone's traumatized for life. No? Whispered Hiashi, as he watched his brother's son, his nephew, try to stand up while still coughing up blood. Arena floor. Holy shit. Thought Genma, trying to decide whether or not to stop the match right now, before Naruto flat out killed Neji. He couldn't, however, as the Hyuga was still conscious, and had finally stood up. You should quit now, Hyuga, before your injuries worsen, stated Naruto, as he looked at Neji's broken, but still determined form standing 20 feet away from him, and could see the boy was trying not to wobble. No chance in hell, dead lass. I'm not going to just quit because of a few shattered ribs. It is my fate to win this fight. Neji weakly, as he was coughing up blood, and he slid into a Juken stance. This gained him some respect in the eyes of many people, including Naruto, though it was a small increase. While I commend you on your resolve, which I do not give lightly, I have things to do, and is certain it should have to demolish. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to end this right now, said the Uzumaki as he flipped through a few hand seals. Hand signs a majority of the Konoha shinobi population recognize. Fire release. Grand fireball technique, Naruto said as he blew out a beach ball-sized fireball towards Neji. There came cries of panic from several members of the crowd as the fireball get closer and closer to Neji's still form. They were calmed however as Neji finally started moving. The Tergram's palm rotation, cried out Neji as he spun in a circle and a large dome of chakra sprouted around him, deflecting the fireball at the last second and sending it towards the sky where it dissipated the farther it got. Many of the members of the crowd were shocked to see that Neji still had enough energy left to pull off jutsu. The ones who were mainly surprised were the members of the Hyuga clan. How often do you witness a member of the cadet branch pull of a main branch technique? So yes, they were very surprised, none more so than Hiashi. Neji, you have come along so far without help from anyone, especially me. What kind of uncle am I, when I can't even help out my own nephew? Thought the Hyuga patriarch sadly as he looked at the only child of his deceased brother. Impressive Neji. You truly are indeed a prodigy worthy of mentioning in regards to the Hyuga clan. However, like I stated earlier, I have to finish this quick so that I can reserve my energy and fight someone else a lot stronger than you. Applauded Naruto with nothing but honesty in his voice, shocking many within the crowd, and wondered who it was that had more strength than Neji. As he finished saying this, the familiar yet still foreign red energy surrounded Naruto's body, as he rushed towards Neji and shoulder rammed him. This knocked the Hyuga down to the ground and knocked him unconscious. Winner of the first match, Uzumaki Naruto. Gemma yelled while still finding it hard to believe this kid walking away from the fight was Uzumaki Naruto. The crowd was dead silent. Deathly silent. They were stunned. Shocked in disbelief. As the medic nin came out to retrieve Neji, they were shocked as they saw Naruto pick him up and carried him over to the stretcher where the medics then took him towards the medical room. This act of selflessness snapped the crowd out of their stupor, as he slowly received a very reluctant applause from those born in Konoha, those that hated him of course before it burst into a thunderous roar of clapping, and finally the cheering from the people in the stadium overall. He actually won, Ino gasped. Sakura was completely silent, as she was trying to decipher the fact that the dead last had just beaten last year's Rookie of the Year, and advancing to the next round. It was simply impossible in her mind that this happened. It shouldn't have happened. That did not just happen. There's no way Naruto is this strong. It has to be a genjutsu. Yeah, that's it, a genjutsu made by the dumb baka, thought Sakura while seeing this new, and most definitely improved Naruto walk to the fighter's box. Kiba smirked. He was really glad that Naruto beat Neji. Now he didn't feel as humiliated that he had lost to Naruto before. Weird huh? As for Hinata, she was still in her own perverted world of unconsciousness. What do you think? Kotetsu asked his companion. I think that Neji at least deserves a promotion for being able to stand and fight taking such a brutal beating. As for Naruto, we might as well just hand him his Chunin vests now. Izumo answered. Chunin? Ha. This kid just fucking dominated a fight against a prodigy from Konoha's strongest clan. Add that to the fact that he graduated as the dead last, and has only been a genin for a year. Shit, they might as well give this kid his Jonin vest right now. Said Asuma, who was listening in on their conversation, and knew this kid was way beyond the rank of Chunin. The two nodded to each other. They had to admit that, even though Naruto had only done a few things, that they were all in fact rather impressive. They decided then that Naruto would be one of the ones who would be promoted to Chunin. Now they couldn't wait to see what this kid could do during the Jonin exam. Now that was something that they were really looking forward to. With the Hyugas, Hanabi was practically shedding tears of joy, now that Uraniki wasn't going to die or be beat senseless anymore. The Hyuga Council was thinking something along lines of trying to get Naruto married into the clan, so that they could obtain that powerful green ore, and were trying to think of a way to marry him off to Hinata, Hanabi, or another Hyuga main branch female. Hiashi, however, knew what they were thinking, and he didn't like it. He didn't like that fact that they were trying to control his clan by marrying off his daughters of all things. The very thought made his stomach churn. Right now, he was hoping that he could find a way to get rid of those old farts, so he could finally control the clan the way he wanted it. That meant no caged bird seal. So he could finally get close to his only nephew. Naruto walked up to the fighter's box and was instantly besieged by the others looking at him in awe, fear, and in Tamari's case lust. Naruto, how the hell did you get so strong? Shikamaru asked. The answer to that, Shikamaru, is, none of your motherfucking business. Naruto yelled before laughing, as they all fell down out of surprise from the outburst, after they leaned forward to hear him, and saw them sweat drop. Troublesome blonde, muttered Shikamaru, as he got up off the floor, and rubbed his forehead. Heh, I wouldn't be me if I wasn't troublesome, Shikamaru. Chuckled Naruto while the next match was about to begin. It was time for Uchiha Sasuke and Sabaku no Guard to fight. Problem was Uchiha Sasuke was still nowhere to be seen or found. I guess I have no choice but to disqualify Sasuke for not showing up, said the Hokage, while looking over where Naruto was standing, and his appearance was making the old Kage nervous. Hokage-sama, perhaps you should wait and postpone the match until later. The people did come to see the boy and my son compete in this expected battle of the titans that are our best genin of our respected shinobi villages, said the Kazekage, with the third Hokage narrowing his eyes at him, before giving it some thought. Very well. It would be in the spirit of competition these two would face off, and to help further our good relations, I'm willing to postpone the match, said the third Hokage before he gave the order, while Naruto and Gaara frowned in displeasure when hearing Genma make the announcement. If I had been 1 second late, they would have called for my instant disqualification, and a whole bunch of other sanctions against me, said Naruto more to himself than anyone else. Why you, said Temari with Naruto looking at her now, and it was making all kinds of emotions run through her body. Because I am a Jinchuriki. Just like him, said Naruto pointing at Gar. Which one? Said Gar before Temari could speak. Kyuubi, said Naruto simply with Gar's eyes widening, and no doubt Shikaku was in his head telling him to stay the hell away from him. I see now. That explains the whispers I've heard the people make about you, and why they were hoping you'd lose at the Hyuga's hands, said Temari, seeing Naruto let out a chuckle. I'm not surprised. Unlike your brother, the Leaf Village didn't want a weapon with the power to fight them if they wanted to vent their anger, and had no problem making my life miserable from day one, said Naruto while Genma called for Kankuro and Shino to come down to fight. I forfeit, said Kankuro, knowing that he risked fighting Shino now would cause the plan for the invasion to go up in smoke. Will Sabaku no Temari and Nara Shikamaru please come down to the arena floor? Your match starts now, said Genma with Temari heading down quickly and waiting for her opponent to appear. Troublesome. First Naruto's change in appearance and now this. I'm going to forfeit, said Shikamaru before he was lifted from his position and thrown out of the fighter's box to the arena floor below. Crash. You can thank me later, said Naruto with Shikamaru grumbling, while picking himself off the ground. Damn blonde. Damn troublesome blonde-haired people. First Ino being my teammate, then Naruto doing this, and now the one from Suna is my opponent in the exams. I swear Kami loves blonde-haired people over me, said Shikamaru while getting off the ground, and saw Temari was ready for a fight. Just for that, I'm going to beat the laziness right out of you, and then, I'm going to ask Naruto-kun out on a date, said Temari with several girls unleashing killer intent at her. Oh, she did not just say that, thought several people glaring at the blonde Kunoichi from Suna. Fight, said Genma with Temari moving quickly to finish this in at least one move. Oh holy crap, said Shikamaru, as he underestimated Temari's speed and barely dodged the hit from her iron fan. Stand your ground and fight, coward, said Temari, as she kept using her iron fan like a blunt object, and Shikamaru was running away, while having flashback of seeing his father doing the same thing when mom was in one of her moods. So this is what he goes through all the time. I have a newly found level of respect for you, Dad, thought Shikamaru before he tripped on a rock and looked back to see Temari leap in the air with her iron fan coming down on him. Take this, yelled Temari with Shikamaru seeing his life flash before his eyes. With my last breath I just want to say, troublesome, said Shikamaru seeing the blunt object get closer to his skull. Smash. Winner. Sabaku no Temari, said Genma, who winced at seeing Shikamaru twitching from taking the blow to the skull, and was surprised the girl's weapon didn't have an imprint of the Nara's face on it. And yet the boy was somehow alive. Unconscious, but still alive. Flawless victory, said Naruto with a grin on his face. No shit. Will Sabaku no Gaara and Uchiha Sasuke come down to the field? It's time for your match to begin, said Genma, while Shikamaru was carted away while Temari went up to the fighter's box. So about that date, said Temari sly with her finger moving around the muscles of the Uzumaki's chest, and let out an eep, when he suddenly grabbed her rear before pulling her towards him. If I say yes, just what do I get in return? Said Naruto while seeing her blushing red in the face, seeing Temari squirming a bit, while his hand stayed firmly on the Kunoichi's rear, and it increased when her crotch rubbed up against his own. I will think of something, said Temari in a slightly squeaky voice, while Naruto just grinned further like a madman. I'll hold you to that, Temari-chan, said Naruto before he let her go, as the now flustered and aroused woman tried to focus on the arena. Not what he could do with that weapon hidden away in his pants. Meanwhile, the match below was like history repeating itself once again, as Gaara had appeared on the arena floor, and Uchiha Sasuke had not. This did not sit well with the future clients and daimyos watching things unfold from their position in this stance. Some people were booing the Uchiha for not showing, while many Konoha-born people grew concerned something might have happened to the boy, and others suspecting Naruto had a hand in it. Not that Naruto cared, since he would kill the Uchiha in these exams, and stick it to Konoha in the worst way possible, with no way for them to get back at him. Not legally anyway. Uchiha Sasuke is not here and therefore disqualified. The winner of the match is Sabaku no Gaara. Will Burame Shino and Uzumaki Naruto come down to the arena floor, said Genma, after waiting long enough for Sasuke to get here for his match. Looks like we're up, Shino, said Naruto with the Burame, having a pensive look on his face. I forfeit, said Shino, knowing it was only logical for him to do that right now. His insects didn't stand a chance against Naruto's power, and that was what everyone had seen so far. Who knows what else the Uzumaki had up his sleeve. Smart man, said Naruto before seeing Temari looking at her brother waiting for a match. I'm going to forfeit too. My brother is not squeamish should he decide to kill a member of his family, said Temari with Naruto nodding in understand. Oh, that's just great. Fine. Will Sabaku no Gari and Uzumaki Naruto come down here to face each other, said Genma with a sigh, and hope no one else forfeit. Showtime, said Naruto before he jumped out of the fighter's box, and landed loudly on the ground, to cause a crater in the process, and shook the stadium. You will prove my existence and die regardless of your power, said Gar, who was now grinning, and finding his blood rushing through him faster than it had in a long time. Of course, the fight between them was interrupted when Uchiha Sasuke finally arrived, and with Hokage Kakashi right behind in a swirl of leaves. Though compared to Naruto's entrance, they looked kind of bland, and boring in a sense where no one really went wow at the sight of them. Are we late? Said Kakashi with a smile on the unmasked part of his face, and Genma just sighed at the man. Not only are you late, but Sasuke's match was postponed, and when you didn't show up with him for his second chance, I had to disqualify the Uchiha, said Genma, seeing both Sasuke and Kakashi were shocked by this. Well, Kakashi was shocked, but Sasuke was pissed off, and the Uchiha looked ready to kill someone. Well, at least that loser of mine for a teammate didn't advance in his match against Neji. I bet the Hyuga hurt that pathetic excuse of a shinobi not badly that he cried and pissed himself, said Sasuke, letting out a cruel chuckle. Only to be surpassed by a cruel laughter coming from a helmeted figure, and the burning crimson eyes made the hairs on the back of Kakashi's head stand up. You would be losing that bet, Uchiha. Neji fell in battle by my hands painfully, I might add, said Naruto with Sasuke looking at him with disbelief. Naruto, said Kakashi while Naruto just grinned further with his fangs showing. Impossible. You are not that dead, last loser, said Sasuke, seeing what Naruto now was and felt should be rightfully his own power. If you're so confident, then back it up, and take me down yourself, Sasuke, said Naruto with the Uchiha charging forward blindly and hitting him with a punch to the stomach. Only to cry out in pain. AHH, yelled Sasuke, as he held his now broken right hand, and hearing Naruto laughing at him. Foolish Uchiha. Your strength, what little there was of it in your possession, has failed, and are no longer even remotely close to my league, said Naruto with his arms crossed in front of him. Shut up. I don't care what kind of power you possess. I will always be better than you, loser. This village will always love me over your worthless self any day of the week. My finger has more value than your whole body, said Sasuke while Naruto just smirked at him. Is that so? Said Naruto, his grin reaching from one ear to the next. 100%, said Sasuke while Kakashi was still looking in disbelief at what had become of Naruto. Then let's test your little theory, said Naruto before his body glowed red for a second and a shoulder strike at the Uchiha that sent the boy through the stadium wall. Sasuke, said Kakashi before glaring at Naruto. Looks like you were wrong about me being a weak and pathetic Hokage. What was it you said? You didn't want to risk your reputation on teaching a no-talented person like myself. That I would lose to Hyuga Neji, and therefore not worth your time. I am in the last match of the Chunin exam finals. I crushed my enemy without your help, my so-called sensei, and after today I won't need any of your so-called training after this tournament is over, said Naruto, letting out a cruel laughter that echoed throughout the stadium. What do you mean by that? You were Genin unless promoted by the Hokage himself to Chunin, said Kakashi, while Naruto just grinned while looking back at the third Hokage. Him? He may portray himself to be a dragon with his title, but that man is really just a toothless worm, said Naruto, seeing Kakashi looking at him in shock and everyone else hearing that. How dare you disrespect the third Hokage, said Kakashi before an explosion was heard in the Kage's booth and around the village. I'm going to do more than disrespect the old man on a verbal level, Hokage. I'm going to show my power to these weak fools in Konoha, and when I do the village will fear me, now not the other way around, said Naruto with Gar trying to go along with his part of the plan to awaken Shikaku through the genjutsu a certain bespectacled subordinate of Orochimaru was unleashing on the stadium. Gar, hurry, said Temari with Kankuro and Baki appearing to cover his flank. Now see what this no-talented shinobi you didn't want to tarnish your reputation can do, Hokage, said Naruto before forming a light spear and throwing it at Gar with the red projectile piercing the sand into the red-haired boy's shoulder. Gar, cried Temari, seeing his sand fall apart and her youngest brother bleeding from the energy weapon's point of entry. My blood. I'm bleeding, yelled Gar frantically, having seen the crimson liquid coming out of his body with his own two eyes. He's mine, said Kankuro, bringing out his puppies, but no sooner had they been let out, were they destroyed violently by the immense strength Naruto unleashed on them, and finally punching Suna's puppet master prodigy in the face to send him flying. We need to get Gar out of here, said Baki turning to Temari, who nodded at him, and tried to move her little brother clutching his bleeding shoulder. So noble. I wonder if you are giving that order because you care about him as a person, or if you care about him as your weapon, said Naruto grabbing Baki by the throat and lifting him up off the ground. What does it matter to you? You are a Jinchuriki too. Suna knew about you before this happened. Why do you think the Kazekage agreed to strike out against Konoha? He knew you were weak. That Konoha was foolish in their efforts to keep you under their thumb by making a weak weapon out of their Jinchuriki, said Baki, while Naruto narrowed his eyes at him. The Kazekage was right about one thing. Konoha was foolish in their efforts to keep me under their thumb. Of that much, you are indeed correct, Suna Jonin, but make no mistake about it when I tell you I am far from weak, and this world will soon know that fact, said Naruto before crushing the man's windpipe, and threw him away like he was nothing. Looking at the Kage's booth, Naruto saw there was a fight going on between the Hokage and Orochimaru, using his impersonation of the Kazekage to get close to the old man. In the stands, Suna and Sound Shinobi were fighting the leaf forces there that wouldn't fall under the sleep-inducing genjutsu. Grinning at this golden opportunity, Naruto decided to let Temari escape with Gaara and a severely concussed Kankuro, while unleashing his fury on the people in this stance. This is the best Chunin exams ever, said Unko, as she killed 2 Suna Shinobi with her snakes, and 1 Sound Shinobi when her kunai pierced his skull. Unko, chided Kurenai while shaking her head at the special Jonin's love for violence, and wondered if anyone had the power to tame the crazy woman. What? This is what it's all about, Kuro-chan. The fighting, the killing, and surviving to see another day, said Anko simply, with Kurenai looking to say something else, but a mighty battle roar was heard above them. And upon looking up saw Uzumaki Naruto descending down on their location with his wrath hammer with a dragon symbol on the side in his hands. What the hell? Said Kurenai before she and Anko leaped out of the way before Naruto landed, causing a great deal of damage to the stance upon impact. You asshole. You almost killed us, said Anko with a pissed off look on her face. But I didn't, did I? Said Naruto before swinging his wrath hammer at a Suna Shinobi, followed by a Sound Shinobi, 2 more of them, and then 3 more from Suna fell from get hit by his weapon. That's not the point, said Anko before she kicked 1 Suna Shinobi between the legs, and moved to kick Naruto's ass, until she saw the pile of bodies and splatters of blood that surrounded him. No? The point is that you saw me heading your way, you dodged, you survived, and look sexy killing these weak fools, said Naruto before he performed charging spikes, and had caused the group of shinobi that were hit become shredded from his jagged armor plating on his body. He's a violent asshole, who is causing bodily harm to anyone caught in his crosshairs, and no one is safe from him, said Anko simply while Kurenai and herself saw him put his fist through an enemy shinobi's chest. And? Said Kurenai while seeing Naruto kick another man in the stomach with enough force to send the poor bastard through 3 walls, and have a piece of it fall on his head to cause the killing blow. And I want him so badly right now, whined Anko while Kurenai sweat dropped. Later, Anko. We have to defend Konoha right now, said Kurenai with Anko pouting at first, but soon got into it, and began to defend the village from its enemies. Out of my way, said Naruto, as he was smacking around everyone and anyone that was getting in his path to the Kage booth, currently being surrounded by a purple barrier on the tiled building. Look at him go, said Asuma before taking down 2 Suna Shinobi with his 2 trench knives. Yosh, Naruto-sen is really showing off his springtime of youth, said Guy while spin kicking a Sound Shinobi into a nearby wall. That's not the only thing he's showing off, said Tenten, as she saw his wrath hammer and his skull with it. Making his way to the Kage's booth, Naruto saw the barrier was standing in his way, and created by those 4 individuals at each corner. Each one handpicked by Orochimaru to be his bodyguards, and loyal to the end of their days depending on their conditioning of their training by him. What are you doing here? Said a Leaf Anbu captain with his team trying to figure out a way to get through the barrier. Doing your job, you pathetic weakling, said Naruto, while seeing the old man was taking on the 2 previous Hokages, while the Sannin watched with amusement. Until Naruto came into view. You? Said Orochimaru while seeing the weapon of choice in his hands. You were expecting one of the elder gods, said Naruto before swinging his wrath hammer into the barrier and make the wall he hit shatter on contact. That's not possible, said Orochimaru, as Naruto walked through the massive hole, and the Anbu doing the same to assist their Hokage in battle. I am Uzumaki Naruto, and I specialize in doing the impossible, said Naruto before he created a light spear, and throwing it at the first Hokage with the literal energy weapon pierced the man's skull, before turning the man into ash due to the tag in his head being destroyed. What did you do? Said Orochimaru, as he never considered his puppets would have their strings cut in such a simple way. For a supposed genius, you really are dumb, said Naruto before he repeated the process with the 3rd Hokage's second predecessor to the title. Thank you, Naruto, cried the 3rd Hokage, as he was punched hard in the face by the very person who just saved his life and was shocked like everyone else by this. You and I are going to have a long talk about your actions regarding me, old man. Make no mistake about it, said Naruto with his eyes burning with fury, before turning his full attention to Orochimaru. Retreat, said Orochimaru before he began to flee with his bodyguards. Coward, said Naruto, as he threw his wrath hammer at the Sannin, and struck through in the back to cause him to drop like a stone onto the ground. Orochimaru-sama, said one of the Sound Four with extra limbs that reminded Naruto of the Shokin, though it was clear the man wasn't one of their kin in any shape or form. The Sound Four tried to intercept Naruto, but they were attacked by the senseis of the Rookie Nine, and Guy, while the young warrior descendant of Shao Kahn landed in front of the downed Sannin. The impact of the wrath hammer nearly breaking his spine, while shattering the bones in his shoulders, and to stop any movement in his arms altogether. He couldn't move much with the damage inflicted while taking considerable effort to get onto his knees, but Naruto was not one for taking chances with the Sannin, and walked slowly towards the man with caution, should he try something. And try he did. The man's face shot up and shot out a long blade from a sword from his mouth. Intent on killing this Genin rank nothing that it ruined everything for him, and ruining years of planning his revenge. All the scheming, the preparations, and hard work were destroyed in a single day by this Uzumaki brat standing before him. However, the boy was expecting something, and moved faster than the Sannin thought possible before feeling a nearly skull-crushing pressure from hand now on his face. "Your soul is mine," said Naruto, having been taught the deadly art by Shao Kahn, before ripping the man's soul from his body, and into his own, with the Sannin screaming out in agonizing pain in the process. Those watching this event unfold, Konoha, Suna, and Sound Shinobi, could only look on in horror at the sight of Orochimaru's soul, which many questioned if he even had one in the first place, leave his body to enter Naruto's own. The body of the Sannin fell down dead, his bodyguards now screaming in pain from the cursed seals burning away at their master's death, and even Anko herself was feeling the failed mark of her former teacher burning away. Seeing the Kusanagi sword amongst the now quickly decaying body of Orochimaru, the Uzumaki picked it up, and examined the blade, while finding it would be a useful addition to his arsenal. "Orochimaru, my old student," said the third Hokage mournfully while in disbelief at seeing Orochimaru's body falling apart and Naruto standing over it. "Pathetic," said Naruto, seeing the third Hokage focus on him now with a slight scowl. "Show your respect for the dead, Naruto. You could at least do that," said the third Hokage, while Naruto just laughed at him. "Me? Show respect to the likes of him? Like you showed respect for my father's dying wish?" said Naruto, seeing the third Hokage flinch at him. "How did you know? How did you find out?" said the third Hokage while Naruto scowled and narrowed his eyes at the old Kage. "It doesn't matter how I know. What matters is that everyone in this village pays for their actions against me. Starting with you," said Naruto before he was in the third Hokage's now surprised face, and punched the man in the stomach to make the Hokage fall to his knees before throwing up. "Naruto, stop, I beg of you," said the third Hokage before he was lifted up his neck. The feeling of the punch rivaled Tsunade, and his fight with his former student along with the previous two Hokages had sapped his strength dry. "This village's pathetic arrogance and their ignorance no longer shackles me. All these years, you along with the rest of them, have fought to keep me under your control, and deny what is rightfully mine. Not this time, old fool," said Naruto, as he punched the third Hokage in the face, then backhanded him, and threw the Kage into the stadium wall with enough force to create a spiderweb cracks. "I had no choice. It needed to be done. It was for the good of the village. The world needed to be protected from the child of prophecy. It's the reason why the elder god Raiden came and informed me of what needed to be done," said the third Hokage, trying to get up, but was kneed in the chest, and then grabbed by the back of his battle uniform, before being spun around into the wall again, only going through the damaged part of the stadium. "A pathetic effort from an incompetent deity to bind what cannot be bound to his rules," said Naruto simply before summoning his wrath hammer. "Please stop, Naruto. Show mercy," said the third Hokage, crawling away from the boy he had wronged. "Like the village showed me," said Naruto before he was surrounded on all sides by Anbu, and a man he had never seen before, with long white hair standing protectively over the third Hokage. "Stop, Naruto. This is getting out of hand," said the figure, with Naruto looking less than impressed and pleased by the interruption. "And who are you to command me?" said Naruto with rage growing in his eyes. "I'm Jiraiya the Toad Sannin, and I'm your godfather," said Jiraiya, with Naruto's eyes whitening before they narrowed, and the rage in them increased exponentially. "I see. So it wasn't enough the old man denies me my heritage, but you abandoned me to a life of torment in this village, and only now come back here to save him," said Naruto, pointing to the still downed Hokage. "What are you talking about? The third Hokage told me you were loved in the village, that you were being trained to the best of your abilities each time I visited to report what I learned from my spy network," said Jiraiya before looking back at the ashamed face of the Hokage. "It seems you were being deceived as well by the old man. Whatever he told you was a complete lie," said Naruto with a hollow tone of amusement in his voice. "Sensei, what is going on? You told me he was loved here in Konoha. You told me the fourth Hokage's dying wish was being honored. That Naruto was being properly protected from his father's enemies," said Jiraiya, with the third Hokage looking away from his second of three students, while Naruto laughed. "Loved? Protected? I have received none of those things from this village, except from a few people, and on fewer occasions. No doubt thanks to him, said Naruto, pointing at the third Hokage with his wrath hammer. Still, I can't let you kill him, Naruto. The invasion is over. I took down Sabaku no Gar, and his siblings are currently being detained for the moment, said Jiraiya, having done his own bit of fighting during the invasion. Meanwhile, Naruto, looking less than pleased by the Sanin's words, and looked down at the severely injured Kage the sage was standing over. Now was not the time to deal with either of them, as he had other matters to attend to, and the enemy at the walls was one of them. We will settle this another time, old man. Consider this small beating a mere prelude to the fury I will unleash on you at a later time. For now, I have some pests to remove from my village, said Naruto before he left to fight the now fleeing allied forces. Sensei, you have some serious explaining to do, and unless I get the whole truth from your mouth, I'm going to let him finish you off, said Jiraiya while holding back his own fury at the old man. The third Hokage sighed, his age catching up to him now, and felt things were only going to get worse from here on out. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification, and also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.